Hi, I wanted to make this video and now I have to cough, obviously. It just kind of came to me and I was like, why don't I make that a video? Because it'd be fun to talk about. I've been thinking about it lately. Um, I got a little bit decorated for the occasion, just for funsies. So I wanted to talk about my country, where I'm from. I'm from the United States of America. I would say I generally say the US when I've gone overseas, when I've gone to other countries. If other people ask where I'm from, I say the US. And generally they know what that means. But I haven't been that many places, honestly. I've only been to 11 countries. Been all around the United States. Um, I haven't been to every state though. Some states I haven't been to are Hawaii. Haven't been there. Alaska, I also haven't been there. Maine, I have not been there. Texas, I have not been there. But many other states, I've honestly been to the vast majority of states in the United States. I have. I've been, and I'm going to talk about cultural differences regionally and just cultural differences within the United States because there are in fact cultural differences within different regions of the US. But I want to talk about culture for a moment because in seventh grade, by the way, everyone, I'm from Wisconsin, okay? I am from Madison, Wisconsin, all right? That's where I grew up. And Madison, Wisconsin has actually always been really ahead of the game in regards to liberalness. Seriously. This is why I knew trans kids when I was a teenager, all right, in the aughts, okay? And most people can't say that in all seriousness. Um, but really, Madison is extremely liberal. The what's the what's the word I'm looking for? The general population just has a more liberal outlook on things. And I wouldn't say that that's bad. I haven't lived there for a long time, so I can't continue to say that. But I wouldn't say that's inherently bad necessarily. However, you get these modern day brain rot liberals and throw them in. Can't really look good. The thing that was attempted in Madison, like a women's speaker's corner, was a disaster because of how crazy the trans cult is there. But I digress. This video is not about that. Something interesting about Wisconsin is one, it's cold a lot of the year. Two, you better at least do some kind of winter sport. Uh, Winter activity, sledding, ice skating, hockey, skiing is pretty big in Wisconsin. Snowshoeing, those kinds of things are pretty popular. But what I was going to say was in Wisconsin, if you go to someone's house, you just show up, especially in the winter, but I would say this is probably throughout the whole year. Show up, say hi, how are you? The person who lives there offers you a beer. Period. That's just how they roll. I'm assuming it's because of the large German influence there. There are in fact a whole heck ton of German descendants of German folk, including me. Um, but so I mean, Wisconsin at one point was also the highest ranking for binge drinking. So it's not really good. Oh, something else I can tell you that's interesting about Wisconsin laws is if you're under 21 and you go to a restaurant and you're with your parents or legal guardian, if they say you can have alcohol, then the server is legally obligated to give you alcohol. So you can go drink with your parents at 15 if they allow that. Um, my parents allowed it, but not everyone's did. So, plus I wasn't even really interested in alcohol, but anyway, yeah, Wisconsin is really fucking cold for a large part of the year. Something that's cool about Wisconsin, people who live there is if you see someone trapped in the snow, if you see their car trapped in the snow, you help them. That's just what you do is you just help. You probably everyone likely has a shovel in their car anyway. So why not, if there's one person trying to shovel their car out of the snow, why not stop and have two people with two shovels trying to shovel that car out of the snow, you know? People actually know how to drive in the snow there. I'm just gonna put that out there. So, um, Minnesota is right nearby Wisconsin. So is Illinois, Chicago. Chicago is really close to Wisconsin. Um, General attitudes there are, I would say, pretty similar. Honestly, I think that the climate, the climate is somewhat similar, but actually Wisconsin is slightly warmer than somewhere like Minnesota of the because of Lake Superior, the Great Lakes, and make it a little bit warmer in the winter. Um, I heard someone saying that like everyone in Minnesota just knows how to like make ice on pavement. I haven't tested that theory, but I believe it. So, hockey's a really big deal in Minnesota. I would argue hockey's probably a bigger deal in Minnesota than it is in Wisconsin. No, I'm not going to do this thing. I'm not going to talk about this state by state. Okay, I'm just giving you an idea. Okay, I heard about um a dad. This was like over 30 years ago. Okay, I think 30, 40 years ago. I heard about in Minnesota, there was like this kids hockey team and people get real serious about it. We're going to talk about that again in another minute when we get to the East Coast. But they get really serious about it. And I heard about so there's a kids hockey team for little boys, okay? And a dad, either on an opposing team or on the same team, got really mad at another hockey dad and murdered him. Bruh, that shit's whack. You know who else is from Wisconsin? Ed Gein, but let's not get into that. Um, so in the Midwest, honestly, I would go so far as to say that it's not a really like hip and happening place, unless you're in a bigger city. Bigger cities are like hip and happening or whatever the heck. Um, there are big cities in the Midwest. Chicago is the third largest city. Chicago is the third largest city in the nation. Okay. Um, and it's pretty big. I love Chicago. Chicago's beautiful. Um, some people call it the architecture capital of the world. It has really interesting and fun architecture. Um, like we would go to Chicago sometimes on school trips because it was close enough. You had to get there early. You had to get on the special bus early, but we would go there. You know, it was close enough to go there for a day. Um, so by the way, Dark Knight Rises was filmed in Chicago. Just want to Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, I think, were both filmed in Chicago. Just want to put that out there. Um, so yeah, I mean, it looks cool. It does have an interesting look to it. Something interesting about Chicago though is like that there's very little counterculture. I mean, I'm sure that there is, but it's just not very pronounced. Like the whole look of Chicago, the whole vibe of Chicago is like super, it's rather corporate. So like the you know, you don't get a lot of like counterculture people there, though I'm sure they exist. You got the beach there, which is, I mean, you go to Lake Superior and that's the beach, but it's not the ocean beach, but it's close enough. Okay, it's close enough. I was gonna say something else about Chicago. I think I've said enough about Chicago. Oh, I was gonna say that I love the accents. I love Chicago accent. I was watching Scrooged a few years ago, and Bill Murray was just saying his lines, and I was like, he's from Chicago. And I looked it up, and sure enough, of course, he was from Chicago, because I could just tell by his accent. I love Chicago accents. When I go there, you guys, you fucking find me in Chicago with some people I know there, I have a different fucking voice, honestly. I don't want to do the accent right now because I don't feel like it. Plus, it's cooler if you hear me doing it there. Anyway, so the Midwest, I would say, has pretty similar vibes. Like, I don't really think Kansas is that different from Nebraska. You know, in order, I think Iowa is that different from Illinois or Indiana. Let me tell you something about Indiana, though. There's some real bad racism there. And maybe that's because, I mean, it is very racially segregated. But, like, just some of the most racist shit I've heard people say in real life were from the mouths of Indianans. So, think about it. That's not to say that other states aren't racist, okay? Wisconsin is really segregated too, so is Illinois. There are parts of Chicago that are really scary, and I'm just gonna say this, and that is that there's pretty big mob activity in Chicago. Like, it's undeniable. All the politicians from there know that. All the politicians from there have to have mob ties. Like, I don't believe that they don't. Sorry. Um, and there are areas in Chicago where you don't go. I'm I'm not exaggerating. You you don't set foot there. You don't go on that train. You don't go over there. For real. Cuz it's dangerous. And yeah, it's partially because of the mob, but it's also because of the gangs over there. So fucking crazy. Right? I think the same might be true of Detroit, though I have not been to Detroit since I was a wee lass, so I can't really say. Something about Detroit that's cool though is they're pretty big on there's been a real big movement for gardening. Got a lot of gardening collectives going there, so that's cool. Um Detroit's also super cold. I mean, it's Michigan. Both people from Wisconsin and Michigan do this. Because this looks like Wisconsin and this looks like Michigan. You're just across the pond there, yeah? Where are you from? Where is your town? Where is your town? You know, looks like the state. Anyway, so Midwest. Yeah, the real like farming areas like Nebraska. I can't really say too much about them because I haven't spent a lot of time there. I've driven through them though. Those are the states you drive through. But one thing I'm gonna say about Nebraska that's pretty fucking cool is it's so flat. It's super flat. The whole state is super flat. Very little differentiation in terrain. But what's so cool about that is that at sunset, you got the biggest, I can't even do it. It's way too big. Biggest colors in the sky. You see, seriously, you can see like a subdued rainbow of colors just surrounding you at sunset in Nebraska. It's really cool. Um, I have spent the least time in the South. I've not been to the South very many times. I told you I've not been to Texas, and that's a huge. I gotta go to Texas. This is ridiculous. Um, it's just a huge state. Obviously, it's a huge deal. Obviously, in the South. I've been to Georgia, though. I've been to Florida. Those are technically southern states. Um, if you like analyze different songs of bands from different regions, you can you like once you find out like, oh, this band's from here, you're like, yeah, that band is from there. Like the Black Keys. Okay, they're from Ohio originally. And I mean, no wonder they're so good at their instruments and became rock musicians because there ain't a lot to do in Ohio. I said it. Okay? Sports, any kind of sports in Ohio are a really, really big deal. The college there, the college sports are a really big deal there. I've seen Ohio State college sports flags all around the nation. Okay? Because people from Ohio are so proud of their sports teams. So we don't have like the closest thing we have to like sacred garb or regional specific garb in mainstream American culture is sports teams. Sports teams, t-shirts, sports teams emblems, right? So that's about as far as we can go with it. I mean, I that's kind of why that's one reason I actually like sports team memorabilia is like it shows a region where you're from, like you're showing pride for where you're from, and if you're not from there, you're showing pride for the team, but you're also kind of showing pride for the region too, right? So if you brush up on your American sports teams, jerseys, and colors, you can figure out where someone's from or where the team that they like is from. So, the LA Lakers, the basketball team, they're actually originally from Minnesota, and their colors are purple and yellow. They might say gold or some shit, call it something else. But the Vikings American football team, their colors are also yellow and purple. And that's why they have the same colors. Because I don't know when, but LA, some guy in LA bought the Minnesota Lakers and moved them to Los Angeles. So that's why the LA Lakers and the Vikings football team have the same colors. Speaking of football, honestly, I don't understand it. I kind of understand it, but I don't fully understand it. I'm just saying I fucking know it's a sport, okay? I fucking know the general rules, but I don't know all of the rules and not all of it makes sense to me when I try to watch it. I don't really watch it. I don't really care that much. I mean, the Super Bowl is kind of fun. The Super Bowl is really fun because it's like an event, okay? If you come here weeks before the Super Bowl, you go to like grocery stores, they have some giant extravagant Super Bowl display, probably with soda, but you get my meaning. People are always like, it's really just an event. Like, I wish we had the week off for the Super Bowl because people always like make food, they make it a thing, they find a team to root for, even if neither of their, any of, even if none of their teams are going to the Super Bowl. Um, So that is a thing. Yeah, I just don't really care that much to completely understand American football. Um, and I don't have the patience for it. Jesus Christ almighty, I do not have the patience for it. They're always wasting their goddamn time. They like play for like 3 seconds and then they stop playing and then they talk about those 3 seconds for 5 minutes and I can't do it. I can't do it. Anyway, so we're still talking about Merca. I think one of my friends a while ago asked me if I could throw, someone asked me if I could throw a football. And I said, I am from Wisconsin. Of course I can throw a football. Um, because that's the thing that people get up to there is the sports. So other regions, I talked about the Midwest, mountain states. Um, that's like Colorado, other states around there. They got a lot of mountains there in the CO in the Colorado, Wyoming. Um, those are some fucking hard places, fam. Honestly, they've got harsh weather. They've got hard winters. They've got the mountains. Wyoming's pretty flat. Honestly, Wyoming's pretty fucking desolate, dude. There's not a lot there. I don't think that the capital is the biggest city. I think they have fewer than 30,000 residents, which is like not a city in my opinion, but I've driven through. I've been to Wyoming. It's all right. I didn't have any bad experiences there, but it's rather sleepy. What's cool about Wyoming though is that Wyoming was the very first state in the United States of America to give women the right to vote, which is pretty cool. Which also explains why they have so much pro-liar propaganda everywhere, because they're probably mad about that. They're like, shit, we shouldn't have given women the right to vote. I'll tell you why that was, though, is that women in Wyoming had to be real tough. Like, women on farms in Wyoming were doing everything the men were doing, and probably more. They were doing all the farm work. So they were doing all the cowgirl shit, okay? So it's not surprising at all to me that Wyoming men were like, well, she can ride a horse and she can vote. I'm making that up, but you get my meaning. I was in Colorado recently. Let me tell you, I wasn't crazy about how lacking in enthusiasm I felt like people were. Mainly when it came to clapping, but maybe that's because I was around too many white people. But anyway, if you don't want to hear about any kind of curse, if you don't want to be cursed by knowing any kind of curse, if you are ever planning to travel through the Denver airport or use the Denver airport in Colorado, when you pause the video, skip ahead right now. Because I'm convinced that that airport is cursed. There are all these like conspiracy theories about the airport. Like people say that there's like that it was built on Native American land, which like I mean it probably was. Wasn't everything built here on Native American land? But like but maybe it was like more sacred. I've heard that there's like an alien living in the Denver airport. It's like just, closed in there. There are, in fact, tunnels underneath the Denver airport, but I imagine that's for an emergency evacuation situation. There's a tram, there's like a subway that takes you to different areas in the airport because it's so fucking huge. Honestly, it's a really nice airport. Okay, truly, it is. It's a really nice airport. The first time I went outside of the United States, when I came back to the U.S., I came back to the Denver airport, and you had to go through this really long hallway to get to customs, and it was a pretty cool experience, like coming back to America through there. I don't want to get emotional, but they had like Native Americans murals on the like murals of Native Americans on the walls, and they had Native American music playing. It was just like, this is America. So that part of it is cool. But I am in fact convinced that it's cursed because I've lost stuff there. Um, I've I brought stuff there that I wasn't supposed to bring there, and then I had to have it sent to me. It was like the dumbest mistake. It wasn't that big of a deal though. Okay, I fucking carry knives sometimes. All right, I just needed it sent back to me in my place of residence. Last time I went there, I got sick afterwards. It is crowded as fuck. But here's the thing about a curse is if you believe in the curse, you're more likely to be affected by it. If you don't believe in it, then you're less likely to be affected by it. But honestly, it's a really nice airport. For real. Seriously. Okay. East Coast. Let's talk about the East Coast before we get to my West Coast that I'm on currently. I like the East Coast. Um, I actually love fighting people. I love like getting in fights. I'm serious. We'll talk about that in a minute, but that's once we get to talk about California. Okay, so I think it's just a thing there that people do. You know, the whole I don't like bringing this up because I find it annoying, but like, okay, I'm not even gonna bring it up. But just the whole like, I'm walking here, like that bullshit, like that's how people act. For real. For real. They act that way. I love the accent. Love the accent. Love East Coast accents. They sound great. Anything that's like super American, not all the time, but sometimes, any like super American accent, I'm like, I love the accent. Love the New York accent. Love the Boston accent. Love that accent over there. It's just a lot of fun to hear. It's very distinct. It's like a little bit British. Something that I heard of is so in English we say you. You is you is you singular, and it can also be you plural. Okay, we can also say y'all. Y'all is getting really popular here because it's gender neutral. Um, seriously, people not in the South are starting to say y'all. People up here in Oregon say y'all frequently. But anyway, I heard in Boston, and this isn't super like present day. This is old, a little bit older, but I think people still do use it. They say yins for plural you. YINS. Like a yin's coming with, like you're gonna are you all going to come with? So I think that's pretty cool and pretty special. Um, I like Baltimore accents. Baltimore, Baltimore. Everyone says hun there. Hey hun. They don't say it like that though, I can tell you that much. People say hun there, short for honey, but they just say hun. HON. I kind of wish it was spelled HUN because that looks phonetic, but anyway. Um, yeah, I don't think that Baltimore accents are like as pronounced as they used to be, but I kind of forgot to talk more about the South. I'm going to talk more about the South in a second. Um, but they would say like hort, my hort, sweet hort, it's in the hoose. They say that too. I've heard that. Um, from Baltimore. I've been to DC. I haven't spent a lot of time in DC, but what I will say is that some women, I feel like DC is like it's a pretty pro women area, and I'm being serious. Like I feel like women are just able to have higher positions in companies, higher positions in jobs, um, in DC. Really, I do. Um, but I think that's just the climate, because there's so much government stuff there, which would make sense. Because as far as the whole world goes, women are doing a lot better here than they are in other parts of the world. So I'm just saying, if our government is in Washington, D.C., it would then make sense that women are at least a little bit better treated and better regarded. Technically, Washington, D.C. is not a state because Delaware, DMB, what the fuck is Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, we're all fighting about who would have the nation's capital in their state. And they were like, fine, we'll just make it its own fucking thing. It's its own state because we can't have this fighting. Because they never would have agreed. No one ever would have been like, okay, Virginia, you got it. Like, that wouldn't have happened. Anyway, as I was going to talk more about the South. I love Southern accents. I think it's so obnoxious that other people think that Southern accents sound uneducated or stupid. They sound great to me, and I don't think they're at all bad. And I think they're actually very easy to understand, honestly. And I like that they like actually have a cool way of speaking, unlike here in the Pacific Northwest, where people don't talk in a cool way. But we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, I knew a gal who, where did she live? She isn't from there, but she had lived there for a while. She was in, oh my fuck. I don't remember where she was, but she was in a southern state. I think it was Georgia, maybe Alabama. It doesn't matter. She was down there. And, she said people are really nice there. They are. They are. They're very nice. Everyone, seriously, everyone is super nice there. Everyone's super friendly there. I'm not exaggerating. Probably more so than likely anywhere in the nation. Seriously. But so she was saying when she lived there, for an extended period of time, she felt like when it came to being nice to other people, or like other people being nice to her, that the niceness kind of ended up being fake a lot of the time. Like you it's seriously like culturally normal to be like, "Hey, so and so, how was your day? What did you do?" Like ask them all these like questions, but the vibe that this gal I knew got was that a lot of people, not all people, but a lot of people were just doing that to go through the motions, and that they didn't really want to, in which case you should just not do that. I've also heard about Southerners. Have y'all seen fucking 1883? Holy shit, I love Elsa's accent in that. It's so beautiful. I started talking like her, and my voice, the register of my voice was like so much lower. And when you see her speaking in her normal speaking voice, she's talking higher. It's this Western show, 1883. It's baller, and it will break your heart. And the main gal in it, her name's Isabel May, plays this gal named Elsa, and she has a southern accent. It's great. It's so great. So a problem that's going on in the South is that people are just, I mean, this is a problem everywhere. It's not unique to the South. People are fucking ignoring all these signs that Mother Nature is giving us, and they're not acting accordingly. I talked to a guy who was in New Orleans when Hurricane Katrina hit. And he said that he was going to stay there because he said that when they're reporting the hurricanes, they would always say, oh, it's a category 5. But then by the time it would actually hit the land, it would be like a category 3. So he was like, oh yeah. So people weren't. He said he wasn't taking it that seriously, and then at the last minute, he decided to leave and go to his parents' house, which is farther inland. And it was really good he did because his apartment got destroyed by the hurricane. And this is the problem I was going to bring up, is that the reason hurricanes are so bad down there is because all the wetland is gone. The marsh is gone. Like, there used to be tons and tons and tons of trees and plants and moss that would soften the blow of the wind once it hit the land. Now it's just not there. Okay? So, and as far as I know, there's no effort to restore it. There's no effort to recreate it. And honestly, you don't even need to have like real plants to do that. You can put a fucking fake tree out there and real moss will grow on it. Texas. I'm pretty sure it's Houston. What's the city in Texas that's on the coast? I don't know. I think it's Houston though. There's a city in Texas that's on the coast. It has skyscrapers. Okay. What's happening is the winds from the ocean. Winds are coming in. So we've got a building here. Winds are coming in, and what would normally have happened is the wind would, so say there wasn't a building there, the wind would go in and it would just, be dispersed throughout the land and lose power and, make the other regions windy, but it wasn't a big deal. Now that we have these giant skyscrapers there, what happens is the wind gets pushed back into the ocean. These super high power winds get pushed back into the ocean, and then they create these really strong storms like Katrina. Not necessarily, but I'm just saying, for example, they're creating stronger storms because they need to have sections for the wind to go through in the buildings. They don't have that because they don't care. There's a story pretty recently of a building in Florida just collapsing. Probably because it was fucking built on sand or some shit. But like half of it just like fell. Just fell down. It was really scary and sad. I think people did die, so that sucks. Okay, now we're gonna get to the West Coast. Sorry I can't talk about Hawaii or Alaska, but I haven't been there. Fam. Where do I start? Where do I start with the West Coast? I will start with LA, California, because that's what people think of all the time anyway. It's a cool state. I think it's one of the coolest states, if not the coolest state, honestly. I love LA. I love California. Can't really say I love San Francisco. We'll get to that in a minute, but I do like the climate. I love the like misty, like ocean weather there. It's really beautiful. I haven't spent time in San Francisco, really. I spent very little time there, but I haven't spent ample time there. But something I saw there the first time I drove through it was I saw a guy I was just driving through the actual city, okay? I saw a guy in a business suit on a longboard. And that's pretty normal in San Francisco. It's pretty fun. So, San Francisco is super, super, super hilly. It's got really steep hills, really scary hills, honestly. And that makes it really hard to walk, just to walk around, because you've got to walk up and down all these hills too. It makes it hard to do something like bike or longboard, because these hills are so fucking steep. 3, that even makes it hard to drive, especially if you drive stick. It's hard to drive. 4, it's even hard for public transportation to get around, like buses. It's difficult for them too. And I think the streets are pretty like packed, but anyway, shit's hitting the fan there, everyone. It's like really, really hitting the fan there. They've got really bad homeless there. They've got really bad drug issues there. I saw that some people are like cleaning out their cars completely and parking them with the boot open, with the hatch open to deter thieves. So they can be like, here's my car. There is nothing in it. Don't break in. What the fuck? San Francisco's cool though. They're pretty cool about dogs. You can pretty much bring your dog anywhere. It's like Italy. Bring your dog into a coffee shop, no prob. Bring your dog into a store, also no prob. But I did go to a restaurant and they were like, to get takeout. And they were like, no, can't have him in here. Understandable. Um, there's a lot of Asian influence in San Francisco, which is pretty interesting. There's a lot of Chinese, Japanese, uh, people there, of those Chinese, Japanese descent. Um, so that's fun. Um, I really haven't spent a lot of time there, so I can't say. I'll tell you what I do love though is Oakland. Beautiful. I like Oakland. It's a slightly more chill version. It's right outside of San Francisco. It's like not as big of a city. Okay. A lot of California is straight up desert. It's desert, fam. If you're driving up there or driving down there, driving up to Oregon, like I swear there's like a line. Northern California is gorgeous. Northern California is beautiful. You got redwoods, giant trees everywhere, bears. It's a cool region. So you got all this lush, um, plants and everything. But I'm saying, I swear there's a line after San Francisco that you cross it, and it's just fugly ass, deadly desert. It's like trees, desert. Um, but you know what? I like the desert. I do. I like the desert. I love LA and I love San Diego. San Diego's a lot more conservative than LA. It's a lot more like, um, the beaches are nicer. If you litter in a San Diego beach, um, it's immediate $1,000 fine. Meanwhile, in LA, people trash those beaches. It's so disgusting. It's so fucking horrible. How trashed those beaches get. I love all the beaches down there. Those are so beautiful. You see dolphins. You can see dolphins. I've seen dolphins down there. It's really, really, really cool. Um, I love LA. It's a great city. Uh, I was gonna say there's a lot of magic in LA. There's a lot of magic a lot of places like Sedona, Arizona. We'll talk about Arizona in a minute. Um, but the thing is that people like the curse in Denver, right? Okay, I didn't even tell you the most fucking important thing about the Denver airport. Let's go back to that for a minute. There's a horse right outside the Denver airport that you see on your way in and on your way out. It's a giant sculpture of a horse. It's blue. People call him Blucifer. He looks better in the day because in the night his eyes fucking glow red. It's so creepy. So the artist who created him, Blucifer, died making him because the horse fell on him. The sculpture of the horse fell on him and it killed him. His brother finished the sculpture. I don't know how tall it is. It's tall, over 10 feet tall. And they put it up anyway. I think that's kind of a bad omen. But anyway, going back to LA. If you believe there's magic there, there's magic there. There's magic there. I mean, I've said before in other videos that cameras are sacred, cameras are special, cameras are holy. Some people abuse them, but not me, obviously. A lot of people do. But some people don't. And the fact that so many movies and TV shows were filmed in LA is pretty special. LA in the area, it's special, you know? Like we film what's important to us. And a lot of areas in LA, you know, were filmed or on movies, TV shows, whatever. So I think it's really special. And there's a lot of like ghosts there and stuff. There's a pretty heavy Catholic population in LA. I was there on Ash Wednesday one time, and I went to Target or something, and all these people had a black cross on their foreheads. And I was like, what the fuck? I looked in the mirror. I was like, do I have one? Because like I seriously, like almost everyone I saw had one on their forehead. And I was like, what the fuck? Finally, I just asked this woman, I was like, excuse me, what is this? What is this for? And she was like, oh, it's Ash Wednesday. And I was like, that wouldn't have occurred to me because I'm not Catholic. But there are a ton of Catholics down there. Probably because it used to be part of Mexico. LA was California used to be a region in Mexico. Let me tell you. I went to California in November of last year. And as soon as I got to Sacramento, everyone was like driving what I consider to be normally, which is like California driving. it's a different style, fam. Basically, you got to be speeding at least a little bit and you got to be aggressive. And it honestly makes sense. Like if you know, you know. If you know, you know, fam. But seriously, like once I like it didn't even occur to me, but like as soon as I got to Sacramento, I was like, "Oh, it was like muscle memory." Like you do not forget how to drive California. It's actually really similar to how people drive in Mexico, which makes sense. Um, it was funny though because so I was driving down to LA from here in Portland and I I like got up to the top of a hill. It was on it was on a highway, it was on a country road. Not a country road, a country road is different from highway, but it was on a middle of nowhere. I see a fucking eagle. I am not kidding you. I'm not getting it on camera because that would give away where I live. But bruh, I am not kidding you. I've never seen that before in my life. An eagle outside my window. God bless America. Anyway, I was driving up this hill in California. It was like with 4-lane, 6-lane road. Okay. So got to the top of the hill. There were seriously like eight cars. I saw them like right next to me, around me. Top of the hill. There's this cop car parked there. All 9 of us just like slowed down. We were like, oh fuck, there's a cop. Like it was cool. I hadn't experienced that anywhere else. I probably won't experience that anywhere but California. But anyway. I can't believe that eagle showed up. I'm so happy. I'm going to look for her. when I get off the vid. California's got a lot of cities in it. I mean, but it's such a fucking humongous state, and like I've honestly been somewhat surprised at how little people travel, how infrequently people travel. Like I went to REI recently, and the guy was asking where I was going. I was like, "Oh, I'm going to Colorado," and he was like, "Oh, I've never been to Colorado." And then I don't know, California came up somehow. It goes Washington, Oregon, California. Okay. California also came up for some reason. He's like, "Oh, I've never been there either." And I was like, "Have you fucking been outside of Oregon?" Washington is 30 minutes away. Like probably not even during rush hour it's closer. It's less than 30 minutes away. Portland is right the fuck next to Washington. I'm like, "How have you not been to California? How have you not been anywhere?" But anyway, I guess we're talking about Oregon. Oregon is it's honestly so it's pretty desolate. Like it's a beautiful, the land is beautiful. It's great. But but I heard someone say that once you get outside of Portland it gets hick real quick. It's true. Um yeah, there's not a lot going for it aside from Portland. There's Eugene, there's Corvallis. I don't really consider that a city though, it's a town. I guess there's Ashland, there's Bend. I've not been to Bend. The coast is really nice. Coast is super nice. The water out here, I guess, is cold across the whole, like Washington, Oregon, California. Water's all cold, fam. But I like the cold water. Um, so yeah, the coast is nice. Um, honestly, Oregon does it's very cool looking. It looks extremely cool. It's extremely like beautiful landscape. Didn't call it the Oregon Trail for nothing, B. Um, for the most part, the weather is pretty mild, but you got to take a lot of rain. So much rain here. Um, it's also pretty depressing. Like I said in another one of my videos, Washington, 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 8 foot 20 with a fucking ton. Um, Washington is chill. I haven't spent a ton of time there. I've been to Seattle many times. Seattle is I want to say five, top five biggest cities in the nation. I'm pretty sure, if not top 10, for sure. What's interesting though about West Coast cities versus East Coast cities is that East Coast cities are better looking. I'm not exaggerating. Better layout, better public transportation, less reliance on cars. And I think that the reason that West Coast cities are so spread out and they have such shitty public transportation is that I think everyone once they got all of the way to the West Coast, everyone just got lazy and we're like, "Oh fuck it, just put a strip mall there." I'm being serious though. Seriously. Um I think that's about it. I kind of meant to talk about more things. And we're already at an hour, so why not? I'm hungry though. I'm not going to end the video though because I do have more to say. I was saying earlier how people, the only like region specific clothing we have is, and I'm talking about for mainstream culture, okay? I'm not, because Native Americans do have really cool region specific clothing. But even that clothing for them, like they don't wear it every day. You know, that's not a it's not an outfit you wear to work. But anyway, um I mean, some of them do. Some of them do performances to work. But I'm saying like just an average day in life. No working. You don't wear those clothes generally. Anyway, we don't have clothing. We don't have a lot of US specific clothing other than sports gear, which honestly a lot of it was likely made abroad. It was likely made in like China, which is embarrassing. Um, we we do have kind of region specific language, like I said. Um, we do have something that is uniquely American, and they're not that popular anymore, but I will show them to you because I make them. So, ready? This is Patricia. Patricia is 22. She needs a bath. I made her when I was a kid. I found out I knew of sock monkeys before, but when I was a kid, my friend's Girl Scout troop made these. I wasn't in her troop, but I was like, "Oh my God, that's so cool. I gotta make one." So I made her, made Patricia. And yeah, I make these now. So hit me up if you want one. These are actually made of socks. They're called Rockford Red Heel socks. So the booty, that's the heel, and the mouth, that's also another heel. It's two socks. Um, and they were like popularly, I think, rationed socks during World War II. So they were just something that a lot of people had, or you could easily acquire them. And the Red Heel, Rockford Red Heel Company, she's wearing an American Girl doll dress. The American Red Heel Company came up with a bunch of designs for critters, animals you could make with the socks. There was an elephant. I don't know what else there was, but sock monkeys were the only one that really caught on. They caught on quick. And this is a traditionally American. Anyone can make a sock monkey though. You don't have to, and you don't have to make it from this type of um, sock. But this is technically a traditional American thing. Let me show you Cecilia. I made her last year. She's newer. She says hi. She's pink. They do come in a couple different colors now. Um, she got a tail too. I'm trying to think of anything else specifically American that I can like tell you about. Nothing's coming to mind. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of things, but not anything that like I mean, there's like quilting, there's some Mormon stuff. Holy shit, I didn't even talk about Mormons. I don't think I have it in me right now, but a lot of them are in Utah. And Utah's a really great state, but you can't buy alcohol there. Not that I would want to, because I'm not stupid enough to drink alcohol ever. But yeah, some people in Utah, I think you got to go to Colorado to get alcohol if you really want it that badly. I can't remember. But a lot of counties there are dry, meaning you can't drink alcohol. You can drink alcohol, but you can't buy alcohol. Um, well, now that I've mentioned Utah, I may as well mention it some more. It's a really beautiful state. Seriously, it's so pretty. It's so beautiful. The nature out there is just outstanding. No wonder Joseph Smith called it the promised land. But anyway, if you guys look up like traditional Mormon food, they got some pretty interesting food dishes they create. Mormons aren't allowed to drink caffeine. They're not allowed to drink caffeine. They're not allowed to drink alcohol. Um, but they are allowed to drink soda. A lot of them are addicted to soda. I really want to go to I don't know what it's called. It's in 127 hours, so that canyon with that cave with the water in it. It's so beautiful. Um what else do we have that's uniquely American? Quilts. Some quilts. We got quilt patterns. Um I'm kind of drawing a blank. I think it's cuz I'm hungry. We've got steak. We've got a world-renowned steak here. Okay. That's delicious. I'm sure we've got world-renowned pork as well. What else do we have? Soda. We got gross sodas that originated here. Um, I don't know. But I think that's enough of one video. It's enough of one video from me. If you have any questions, just let me know. I can also talk about certain other things if you want me to talk more about them. Feel free to ask me. Bye.